Sorry, I also just want to add that I think it's just a kind of self-deception, right, by a lot of these functionaries, I feel. Of course, they wouldn't want to think of themselves as apparatchiks of authoritarian state. They will not. That's not the kind of self-image that they want to have. So I think there's all these sort of rationalizations that by going after these dissidents, so to speak, they are sort of protecting the larger community, protecting a larger whole. But I think. Yes, there's quite a bit of self-delusion there because your psyche is threatened, right, by that to think that you're the bad person.
So is it a misunderstanding? You know, like you're perceiving a hostility when there's none.
So I think there's definitely a lot of state paranoia. I've been in the arts long enough to know that there's so much overestimation of what artists are capable of, and so much underestimation of what the audience is capable of, right? So this idea that, we really have to control and regulate because ideas are dangerous, and artists for some reason can influence large crowds and therefore somehow incite the audience to overthrow government. I think it's just so much paranoia, and I don't know how to sort of have that conversation and say, hey, look at me. Do you really think that my agenda is to like inflame the masses and sort of incite violence or riot? So yeah. So I don't know how to do it.
The more they get used to not being challenged, the more a tiny challenge feels like a huge challenge, right? So I think that's where the paranoia comes in. So sometimes it's like, how did you and your other fellow activists organize this? And I was like, you think we organize? Essentially, like, you have no idea, like, how often things are just gonna come spontaneously, and it's like, whoever is free, please do something, right? And then they've got this huge, like, conspiracy idea of, like, you organize, and then, like, you provoke this person, and it's just like, no lah, we don't have that capacity, to be honest. Like, we wish we did, but we don't have the capacity to actually function as an established, like, organized unit, right? Like, that's not how Singapore civil society works.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like overreaction, perhaps, to a threat that's non-existent. Is that probably? It's just,
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think if you sell a siege mentality long enough, you buy your own siege mentality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think definitely like the media is kind of complicit in that, right? Because by not being truthful with their reporting sometimes, by shielding the political elites from certain kind of uncomfortable truths, then I think some of these small actions are magnified and seen as such severe acts of dissidence.
Right. So that's these are certain maybe there's a lack of dialogue between certain groups of people.
Yeah, but how do we get invited to the table in the first place, right? Because I don't think we can have proper dialogue if there's already this kind of presumption that, this person is going to be adversarial or confrontational, and therefore I don't want to see this person. I sort of like decide who gets invited to that table, right?
Yeah, I've tried dialogue, it didn't end well for me.
Right, yeah. I won't give up on dialoguing, right? But I think one of the preconditions for dialogue is that you are able to deal with someone with very, very different opinions, right? And not like from the beginning, what common ground do we have? If you don't have, I don't want to see you at all, right? Yeah.